We're live? Yes, okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let's begin. Thank you for coming to this info session, which is for the Tangled Art and Disability Call for Submissions. This session will include an overview of the call, a review of the application, an opportunity to address questions you may have regarding the submission process and selection of artists. We ask that you please hold on to your questions until we reach the question and answer component in the latter half of the session. We're going to try and spend a little bit less than 15 minutes going through the details of the submission process so we can open up for questions and conclude with a tour of the gallery space. There are also printouts of the application form and the call for submissions available for you to view. And Tangled staff has generated a list of possibly asked questions to share with you as well. Those of you joining us online, hello, courtesy of Facebook live stream. We're also finding ways you can view the possibly asked questions online, along with information for the info session, the call, and the application form. I'm Barak Desolé. I'll be facilitating this session. I'm an artist and independent curator visiting from Chicago. I create performance work that explores the intersection of race and disability. I identify as queer, disabled, and a person of color, and use they, them, or he, him pronouns. I'm advising on this process. And joining me are the incredible staff members from Tangled who will introduce themselves.
Hello everyone, I'm Kara Eastcott, the interim artistic director at Tangled. My preferred pronouns are she and her.
Hello, I'm Katie McMillan. I'm the interim executive director at Tangled, and I use pronouns she and her.
Hi everybody, I'm Sean Lee. I'm the arts management intern here at Tangled, and my preferred pronouns are he, him.
And also joining us and supporting us with the live stream is Christina McMullen, who is the communications and design coordinator. She identifies as disabled and uses the pronouns she, her. All right, so we're gonna hold on questions. And we're gonna begin with a quick overview. So who would like to do that? Kara.
Okay, so Tangled Art Plus Disability is currently accepting applications from deaf, mad, and disability identified artists to create new work for an upcoming series of exhibitions, which will run from September 2017 to April 2018 at the Tangled Art Gallery in Toronto. Proposals for the projects may be in any artistic discipline. There are 3 questions we are asking artists to consider when applying. Number 1, in what ways has Canada historically included or excluded us? Number 2, how do we navigate the current realities of living and being in this country? Number 3, how might we shape a future that truly embraces us? We welcome submissions from diverse communities and cultural backgrounds, including Black, Indigenous, people of color, and LGBTQIP2SAA. We are interested in projects that fit within the Tangled Art Gallery space, which is an 800 square foot gallery. We'll be taking a tour of that later. And we encourage multidisciplinary work and creative use of the space. Tangled has the capacity to screen film and media works and to host performances that do not exceed the limitations of the space. We are interested in projects that embrace a creative approach to accessibility. We encourage multi-sensory work, interactive and tactile pieces. All exhibits are to include audio description, captioning, and American Sign Language interpretation as needed, and reflect intersectional experiences and perspectives of deaf, mad, and disability cultures. And maybe I'll pass it on to Katie to go over the budget and resources.
So selected artists of the applicants, we will be selecting approximately 8 artists to exhibit, and selected artists will receive an exhibition fee of $2,000 and a budget of $3,000 for creation and materials. So overall, there's a budget of about $5,000 per exhibit. We encourage artists to take a minimum $2,000 artist fee for the work being created. In addition to the $3,000 for creation and materials, Tangled will cover the cost of installation, any rental equipment or technical support up to $2,000, as well as shipping, printing, promotion, accessibility services, and insurance. Tangled will also be providing travel, accommodations, and per diem for one artist living outside of Toronto as necessary. We will also work with the artist to set up public engagements, artist talks, workshops, communal dialogues, and support integrating inclusive practices of access and accessibility. For the submissions, we ask for a completed application form. We have print copies here. It's also available on our website. We ask for an artist's CV or biography. A budget indicating how the $3,000 would be spent, so depending on the discipline. For example, someone who is creating a photography exhibit, how that $3,000 would be spent potentially on the creation period, so paying the artist for the amount of time it takes to create the work, the framing of the work, and printing of the work, for example. We also ask for artist samples, ideas, sketches, or documentation of past work. And applications will be assessed based on artistic merit, the overall value to the field of disability arts and the community at large, the viability of the proposed project and budget, and accessibility of the project to audiences with wide-ranging disabilities, deaf and mad communities.
So, completed applications can be sent by mail to Tangled Art Plus Disability with the subject line "Call for Submissions" to our address here at 401 Richmond Street West, Suite 122, Toronto, Ontario. Postal code M5V3A8, or they can be emailed to submissions, SUBMISSIONS, at tangledarts.org. Only submissions from deaf, mad, and disability identified artists will be considered. We'll accept written applications as well as ASL video responses. We can provide assistance for filling out the written application form, or as needed, applicants can respond to the questions in person.
One clarification. Would a person like me prefers to record my application as an audio and video with sending the supported application? Would that also work?
Yes, and so making sure to include what you're saying is referring to the notion of creating an audio and video application?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for your question, and thank you for catching that and clarifying. We're just going to move on to the application form. On the application form, there are 8 specific questions and 1 kind of open question. So if I may, I'm just going to kind of quickly, or to say more smoothly, move through that. For each of the questions on the application form, we're asking you to offer a brief kind of response up to about 200 words, which also, if you're doing an in-person application or via video, is about 2 minutes, up to about 2 minutes to talk about each question. The first question is, how would you describe your artistic practice? Question number 2, Do deaf, mad, or disability identities play a role in your artistic practice? Why or why not? So how does it? Question number 3. Tell us about the project you're proposing. Does it respond to the questions in our call for submission? Yes. Which one, perhaps? If it doesn't, then you tell us, like, what is your project about, and why would you want? Why would Tango support your project? Number 4. How do you imagine your project fitting in the Tango Arts Gallery space? The limitations of the space, the size, the resources. Number 5. And how do you imagine integrating accessibility for audiences into your project? Number 6. How will this project engage deaf, mad, and disability communities locally, online, or through social media? Number 7. How would you make use of a $3,000 budget for the creation of this project? Number 8. Could you please outline your schedule for the creation period, which will begin June 1st and go to September 1st, 2017? Noting that that's the initial creation period for when the exhibitions began to be shown in September. And then our last question is an open question, which basically is there anything else you want to tell us? Something that you think is important? And we ask for this question that you limit your responses to be no more than 250 words. So a little bit longer than the others, but just another space for you to add anything you might want to add. Okay?
Okay, so now we're going to move into the possibly asked questions. So, who is your call open to, or who is the Tangled call for submissions open to? So the call is open to Canadians who identify as artists with disabilities, deaf, hard of hearing artists, or mad artists. It is open to anyone living within Canada. We are not accepting submissions from artists living outside of the country. What kind of artists are we looking for? So we're looking for artists from across Canada who identify with a disability or from the deaf, mad, disability communities, are all welcome to apply to present new work. We are open to all disciplines and arts practices so long as they fit within the physical limitations of the gallery space, and artists may be at any stage within their own creative career.
So another possibly asked question, I just started making art, can I apply? Well, all artists are encouraged to apply. We do anticipate this call will have a competitive pool of applicants. If you would like assistance with your application, you can arrange to speak with a staff member. Appointments can be made through telephone or through email at info@tangledarts.org. Are you accepting work proposals for work I have already completed? Artists must submit a proposal that includes a commissioned component, but can also incorporate works that have been completed. Artists are encouraged to think about how accessible practices can be a part of their work, multisensory, interactive, or tactile components. So looking at integrating those components into previous works could be part of creating a new commission.
I have asked you a question. Commission component, what does that mean?
Commissioned component meaning we are looking to support new work. So work that hasn't been shown previously. So a commissioned component, if there was a work that had been shown before, but it's being developed to further include accessibility practices, or it's being developed to be shown in a new way.
So work that is currently in process could be
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so just to clarify, work that's currently in process is absolutely,
It's not just
applicable.
a response to your call.
no,
You could have things
no,
in
it could be
place.
work that's already in process, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Just wanted to understand.
Thanks.
And so the next question would be, can I apply with another group, an artist, a collective, a company? Yes, however, applicants should keep in mind that Tangled has a limited budget for each exhibition. $2,000 is allotted to artist fees, and we require the artist within the exhibition to be paid according to Carfax standards. In addition, for artists outside of Toronto, the budget supporting travel and board covers one representative from each group. If more than one artist will require travel, accommodations, and per diem, for example, a performance collected, please factor these costs into the project budget. What kind of artistic samples should I submit? We are accepting images, videos, and MP3s representing your most current work. For images, we are accepting up to 10 high-res JPEG files. For videos, we are accepting excerpts of documentation up to 10 minutes in length of one presented piece. For audio, we are accepting between 1 to 3 audio files that combined are no longer than 10 minutes in length. Should I send my original artwork or documentation of it? We will not return any works that are mailed to us, so please do not send any original art. We will accept printed works of 8.5 by 11 inches or smaller. We cannot accept printed works that are larger than 8.5 by 11. For printed works, we are looking for works to be combined in some form, i.e. portfolio, duotang, 3-pronged folders, but no loose papers. For digital files, documentation can be sent via USB, CD, or DVD.
So I thought we have these possibly asked questions available to go through. I wanted to get to a point where we get to the question that you may have as well, but I wanted to also offer up a question that's come. And so Sean, if you wanted to go to a place where we begin to talk about the question that's come up from someone who previously sent us a question, that would be great. So let's look for that. We're about to hear. Do you see that?
Yeah. So, so we also received questions online, and folks were invited to, if they weren't able to attend the session, submit questions in advance. So we're just going to take one of those first. The question was received from an artist in Drayton, Ontario, and they asked, do all aspects of accessibility for a work have to be completed by the artist alone, e.g., if there is an audio component that required technical work, would these technical aspects need to be included in the $3,000 budgets? So answering that question first, Tangled will be covering basic accessibility components to the work. So that means audio guides, audio descriptive guides, for each exhibition. That budget will be covered by Tangled. For captioning of works, that will also be covered by Tangled, as well as image descriptions and installation costs. However, if there are specific accessibility components, experimental components, and features that would be exclusive to a piece, or if you're working with another organization to implement and fold accessibility into the creation stage of your works, that would have to be something that is factored into the budget. And then this artist also asks, will artists from all regions of Ontario be considered equally on their artwork as opposed to distance from gallery? And yes, all artists from Ontario will be considered equally, regardless of their distance from the galleries.
This is a silly question. perhaps.
But just to clarify quickly, it's all artists across Canada.
Thank
So,
you. That was the question.
you know, Toronto locally, regionally, throughout Canada, we're interested in the breadth and the expanse of Canada. All right. So this moves us to a time where you may have questions. And so if there's anyone who has a question, or Blaine, you want to, does that answer your question?
Yeah, what you answered was just what I was wondering about.
Okay, does anyone else have a question? Yes.
Mine was from earlier. What does it mean by personal pronouns? How do you use that?
Oh, when we identified ourselves, we identify ourselves because we respect and understand in terms of people's pronoun usage, and so to let people know, so there's no assumptions about our gender expression or identity. So that's just for us as that's kind of how we decided we want to share with folk with respect to the ways that we think about how people should how they should name themselves in terms of pronouns.
So how would you use it in a conversation? Like if I know your first name, like if I said Kira, how can I use the pronoun in a sentence? Like I'm not sure how to use it, or the technique to use it, because I don't want to be offensive.
Well, Kara, do you want to answer? Do you want
Sure.
to?
Sure. Yeah, so by stating that my preferred pronouns are she and her, it's saying that if you are referring to me in a conversation with somebody, that I would prefer if you refer to me as she and her, or my name is good,
Okay.
rather than perhaps him or he.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, is that clarified?
Thanks.
Okay.
So we're going to move to questions very specific to this application process, to the call for submissions, to something you may be interested in. You can also ask us later. This is not the only time, so you can also email us or call the Tangled office. But any other question? Elaine.
This is a really dumb one. But, okay, so you're looking for Word or PDF file or Dropbox link or for submissions. But then you say for digital files, documentation can be sent via USB, CD, or DVD. So how do we send you a package with both things?
Could you repeat it again, please?
Sorry. Okay, you're asking us to submit applications as a Word doc file, a PDF file, drop link or log link. But then we're sending digital files with USB, CD, or DVD, which is a physical component.
Right. So the question was we're asking for applications to be sent either in digitally through email or through PDF or Dropbox link, but then there's also an option to send USB files, CD, or DVD. So that question is actually, or that part of the information is referring to physical submissions. So if you were to fill out the application by hand or submitting it physically, then if people could include a USB or a CD or a DVD with the file or the digital documentation in it, that would be how they do it. Or if the application is entirely online, and if it has, let's say, a very large clip, then if it's not sendable through email, then folks can either send a link, maybe one with a password protected link through either YouTube or Vimeo, or upload the clip to Dropbox and share that link to us.
Okay, so we can just send all our stuff online.
Yes, you can send everything online.
We don't have to send you a separate.
No, that's not necessary.
That was
No.
confusing me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But you can if you want to. So if you want to, let's say, submit your application, the application itself, online through email, and just let us know that physical documentation is on its way, then we'll make a note of that. The only thing is that original works are not, we're not accepting original works because we don't have the capacity to return everything. So if you send in a USB or a CD or a DVD, we won't really have the capacity to return that. And that's something just to keep in mind during the application.
We have time for one more question. Yes.
Are you guys looking for people, artists with disabilities, whose work talks about the disability, and does the work have to be politically correct?
So you asked the question just so I can confirm that you asked if the self-identified artists with disabilities, mad, deaf, hard of hearing, if they have to make work that speaks to the experience of people with disabilities. And the last part was, does it have to be politically correct? So that's a great question. And we welcome the opportunity to explore and have the conversation with you. You bring your ideas. If you identify as someone within the community, bring your ideas to us, challenge us. Say this is the work that I'm doing, and this is important. And we will, that's part of the mission. We together expanding that idea. Does it have to be politically correct? There are lines that we will discuss in terms of general respect, but politically correct, what does that mean? It's something that you all, I think, we welcome you to explore, to give us something. It's your art, so you decide. You decide. I and others can affirm we're open to what political work. We talked about things that may relate to things that may be politically charged of other time, that may have a kind of engagement that may cause it, and so we want to have a conversation with you.
So you're cool with, like, I have a disability, but our work has nothing to do with disability or political correctness. Is that gonna?
Yes.
Is that?
Yeah. So just keeping in mind that there is a bit of a theme to this exhibition. We don't ask that artists change their works at all, or to create work that they don't believe in. Part of this, going back to you about whether work should be PC or like non-offensive. I mean, I think there's an important distinction between being PC and being intentional about what it is the works are doing. And so, when people use in our community, in disability communities, use words like crip or mad, those are very intentional reclaiming of these words, and that can be disruptive to kind of normative thought processes. But it's intentional, and it comes with a lot of history and a lot of thought behind it. One thing is that we would discuss within the gallery in terms of does the work serve kind of a purpose when it's being disruptive to the rest of like the gallery, for instance. I think if it serves a purpose, then as long as the intention for the art is kind of made clear, then I don't think it would be disruptive and just offensive for offensiveness' sake, but rather would have kind of meaning and drive behind it.
And then we'll wrap it up. Yes, Kara. Yes.
I just wanted to add something to that, repeating on what we said before, how the applications will be assessed. And one of the points to that is that the overall value to the field of disability arts and the disability arts community or disability communities at large, that these applications are kind of keeping that in mind, that they're being assessed by that, by the value, however you interpret that, to the field of disability arts and disability communities at large. So to maybe keep that in mind.
Can I just include something about that? Sorry, we're all responding to this. That's a really good question. It's a really good question. Oh, thank you, Tim. I was just going to ask that. Oh, I can see so much better now. Okay. I just wanted to add to that doesn't exclude any experiences or creation of artwork that doesn't specifically deal with disability, that can be an important contribution to the disability arts community. Like it's certainly not, wouldn't be considered of lesser value because the work doesn't address, you know, disability, you know, outright. It, you know, as that's sort of one of the conversations among the disability arts community right now is, you know, how, to what extent does the work have to reflect disability? Maybe it doesn't. If the artist is disability identified, you know, that doesn't have to be the main factor or the main sort of piece that they're addressing in the work. So just adding clarification to that.
I just want to say one last thing regarding this, is that maybe the artist has never done a work that has identified as such, and this may be their moment to say, how do I explore it?
Right.
This may be the question, and they may be open to the question. I would welcome you to put the question in your project. I've been doing this work, but maybe I might want to consider that. Or maybe I'm thinking about these things. The same with accessible practices or things. I may want to think about that. That's actually a new component in thought. And that's something then we were like, well, we want to support this person in their question. We feel that the work is, you know, something that feels vital, as Kara pointed out. So it leaves room. And again, we welcome you to explore, to express yourself, and to show us your art. So I want to thank you all. We're going to transition to go back to the gallery to reimagine it as you like with your particular projects. So we're going to transition, and we're going to do another session, which will bring us back to for the next group. So thank you all for coming. For live stream folk, thank you all. I know we appreciate you being with us. And we're gonna find a way, if we can't answer questions we have, that you were like, I'm trying to put this up online right now. Please please know that we'll make sure we try to respond to each of your questions as well. So thank you all.